I want you to picture a boy's bedroom. Posters he chose himself. A bed someone made that morning. A height chart in pencil on the doorframe. The last mark at 4 feet 11. Now picture his mother in the doorway of that room, in the autumn of 1981. Unable to remember whose room it is. Not grief, not denial. Something quieter, and much worse. She looks at that little pencil line and feels she ought to know the name that belongs to it. The way a word sits on the tip of your tongue. And then the feeling lets go of her, gently, and she closes the door. She never opens it again. That is the part of the Polybius story they left out. Welcome back to the archive. They told you it was a game that gave children headaches. I have spent 4 months inside this file, and I am going to tell you what it actually did. I would ask you to listen closely, but I would ask you more, not to look too long at the screen. It came in the night. No truck, no invoice, no name down the side. Just a black cabinet standing in the corner of a Portland arcade one morning, as though it had grown there in the dark. The man who ran the place, a tired, decent man I'll call Danny, assumed a distributor had dropped it early and would phone. Nobody ever phoned. The game had no real title screen, no enemies, no end. Only a shape, a spiral, turning and turning, and somehow always turning toward you, and one white number in the corner that climbed. Children who had never agreed on anything in their lives agreed on this machine. They lined up. They stopped going home. Danny told me the first time he understood something was wrong was a Tuesday, ordinary as bread, when he reached over a small boy's shoulder to switch the thing off, and the boy caught his wrist without looking away from the glass and said, in a flat little voice that did not sound 12 years old, "Not yet. I'm so close." The boy's hand was cold. The arcade was not. It took them slowly, and it took the best of them first. You could watch it arrive in a childlike weather coming in. They went quiet. They blinked less than people should, and they began to draw the spiral, in the margins of their books, on their palms, in the grime of the bus window, always the same, always turning the same way. If you asked them what it was, they'd tell you patiently, as if you were the slow one. It's the way out. The girl who filled a whole notebook with it was found one morning sitting on her bedroom floor, having drawn it on the wall, the carpet, the inside of her own arm, wringing herself in it. And she was smiling, and she would not say at what. And the boy, the one whose initials are on that board, played until almost dawn one night, until the number in the corner climbed past anything Danny had ever seen. Then he lifted his hands from the controls, very gently, the way you set down something that is sleeping, and he walked to the back wall of the arcade, the blank one, the one with nothing behind it but brick and the night. Danny turned to lock the front door, one turn of a key. When he turned back, the boy was not there, not run off, not hiding. Gone, the way a word is gone, the way a dream is gone the instant you reach for it. And by morning, so was everyone who should have missed him. The men came 3 nights later, and they came like men who had done this before. Dark suits, no hurry, no surprise. They never played. They stood in front of the screen and watched the spiral the way you'd watch a tide. And they wrote in small notebooks, and once a week they unlocked the cabinet and lifted something out of it that Danny was never allowed to see. He decided they were from some office with no name, here to study the thing, to keep children safe. And he let himself believe it, because the other possibility could not be carried. On their last night, he stayed late and hid. He watched one of them stand a long while before the empty high scoreboard, the boy's 3 letters still glowing at the top. And he heard the man say it, softly, almost tenderly, to no one at all. It's still feeding. He wrote one more line. He closed the book. Then they wheeled the machine out into the dark, and the arcade was quiet for the first time in a month. And on Danny Street, in 3 different houses, parents woke the next morning to a small room they could not account for, full of a child's things, warm with the sense that someone dear had only just stepped out, and could not, ever again, put a name to who. 3 things I cannot put down. The first, there is no record of any game called Polybius. No patent, no shipment, no license, nothing, anywhere. And a thing that leaves no trace is not a thing that was never here. It is a thing someone made very certain you would never go looking for. The second, the spiral. I have it now in a dozen accounts, separated by decades and oceans, set down by people who never met, and not one of them describes a picture. They describe a direction, every single one. The third is the reason I have not slept properly in some weeks. That photograph of the high scoreboard, the one whose number rises a little each time it is seen. I had it examined by someone careful. The number is climbing, yes, but so are the letters. Beside the boy's 3 initials, every few years, a 4th begins to surface, faint, like a name coming up through water. The list is not closed. The list is still taking names. And I have caught myself drawing the spiral in the margin of my own notes, and stopping my hand, every time, a half turn before it closes. Danny is an old man now. He has not set foot in an arcade in 40 years. He told me he still wakes some nights with his hand moving on the bedspread, drawing it, and that the worst of it is not the fear. The worst of it is that some small animal part of him still wants to finish the shape, still wants to knock. The machine was never found. The boy was never found. And the number is still going up. This has been the archive. I'm going to show you the pattern now, once, briefly, exactly as it turned on that screen in the summer of 1981. Most of you will see a spiral and feel nothing, and that is as it should be. But 1 or 2 of you are going to feel it catch, low, behind the eyes. A pull like the memory of a room you have never been in. If you feel it, close your eyes. Don't follow it. And don't, whatever you do, finish the shape. Subscribe so you're here when the next file surfaces. And good night. Try not to dream of it.